let's see. Now we're going to Amazon Prime, and this is Gen V.
Oh,
Sean,
Gen V.
I saw Gen V. So I'm gonna give a Sean. I'm gonna give a quick prezi of this, and then I'm gonna
Yeah,
wind you up.
I like that because I'm all emotion. You guys are logic. I'm just like emotion.
Yeah, that I'll wind you up and let you go. I'll wind you up and let you go. All right. So The Boys was a TV show that started on Amazon probably about 3-4 years ago. It's based on a comic book series, and the whole idea about it is that this is a world that has superheroes. You have superheroes; they exist, but they are kind of like actual. They're like almost like celebrities, where everybody's like, "Oh my God, Soldier Boy! Oh my God, Homelander!" and all that sort of stuff. But you have the boys, who is like an underhand version of the CIA, whose thing is to keep the superheroes in line. Because in this world, the superheroes are not the magnanimous people who stop buses and save kids and rescue kittens out of trees. The superheroes are the worst kind of celebrity that you can have. Because if you have these people and you give them so much adoration and you give them so much power, what they're going to be, they're going to be monsters. And so the boys keep them in line. Gen V is a spin-off of the boys where it's set at a place called Godolkin University, which is referred to as God U. For those of you who've read the comics, you know that Godolkin was essentially, he's their version of Charles Xavier. He's Godolkin in the comics is obviously based on Charles Xavier, has this school where he has all these people where, because it's the boys, some nefarious, horrible stuff goes on. And in this university, this is where the superheroes of tomorrow, or the PR that is spun by Vought, the main companies, this is where the superheroes of tomorrow are trained. This is where the superheroes of tomorrow are trained to become, like, whether the media personalities or the world savings, and hopefully make it into the Seven, which is their version of the Justice League. And you focus on Mary Moreau, who is an orphan, and as things happen in The Boys, when she discovered her powers, it ended up being a tragedy. Her parents got killed because she discovered her powers. And her powers are blood bending. So essentially, she can cut herself, blood comes out of her hands, and when the blood comes out, she can make the blood into different shapes and make it do different things. And she gets accepted into Godolkin University, which is her only way out of being an orphan and being in the system. And she's like, yes, this is my one chance, I'm going to do it. She gets to Godolkin University, then things happen. And then that's where the plot kicks off. And you start realizing that as this is The Boys, things might not be what they seem. This university might not just be the wonderful, magnanimous place where you train the upstanding citizens of tomorrow. Sean, I'll send it off to you now.
You will. Okay. Okay. Cheers. So yeah. Okay. My feelings in this film. So you've got the college. You got lots and lots of different powers. You know,
Yep.
some powers, and you have controversial. There's controversial moments in this where they try to be outrageous, like they were in The Boys, especially should we say with the little. I think her name's Atom, or what's her
No,
name?
no, no. Drop. What the little? Oh, the one when she fights the. I can't remember. Well, her name's Emma.
Yeah,
The
but
character's
anyway,
name
you
is
know
Emma.
what I
Yeah,
mean.
yeah.
So the one that's got bulimia, that has to,
Little Wicket. So essentially,
yeah,
okay.
yeah, yeah.
So this is an example. It's an example of the way things happen in the world of The Boys. So in DC world or Marvel world, you have Ant-Man or you have the Atom, and they shrink down to small size, and they can go there, and it's all well and good and everything like that. But in The Boys, they have a character who does this, but the way she grows small is by throwing up and by
Yeah.
making herself throw up. Little Wicket, that's what I call it.
Little Wicket, yeah.
Yeah, so she by making herself throw up, and so because of this, she has like a YouTube show where she does things where she like fights a hamster. She goes down to size and she fights a hamster and all that kind of stuff. And then you have all these people who have fetishes who want to come because she's small, and they say, "Oh, could you do this because you're small?" Because it's The Boys. Things are going to get sexual. Things are going to get weird. Things are going to get.
Yeah. That. You know the bit I'm talking about, Toes.
I know exactly.
I didn't
the
think
bit
it
you're
was
talking about.
particularly. It wasn't particularly. I didn't think it was particularly necessary, but it probably was for maybe the teenage angst thing that
Sean,
wanting to be like.
nothing in the world of The Boys is necessary.
No, that's true. That's a good point, Toes. Sorry, I never thought of that. Yeah. Maybe. I mean,
yes, yeah.
I found this like just I don't know. I struggled with it, Toes. I struggled with it. The first two sort of had me intrigued. I thought, oh, where's this going? And then they had the thing with the the forest where or the woods
the
or whatever.
woods.
And
Yeah, the
thing.
woods. Yeah.
Yeah. And to me, it was totally aimed at teenagers. I think because it was all teenage angst and their problems and self-esteem
It is. Yeah.
and it was very much that that way inclined. and I thought, I mean, Homelander makes an appearance in the, and I just don't know how people could have survived Homelander in that. I'm like, really, really, after doing that, you managed to, survive.
Well,
Anyway, you know the bit I mean.
I know the exact bit. I know the exact bit you mean, and the bit you're talking about is almost kind of like it's the comeback. Because this is set in the world of The Boys, and there's people who sort of asked like, couldn't this storyline actually just have been in The Boys? Because there is a, I think there's a storyline in the comics that this takes inspiration from, where Huey goes to the Godolkin people and everything like that, tries to infiltrate them and all that, and that. But I actually think that exactly what you said about it skewing younger, because it's with university students and going with their different things, and somebody trying to sort of work their way out of the gutter, and somebody. I think that gives this show a purpose or reason to exist. Because if this was just like, The Boys again, I think it would have been dumb. But I think it has actually very effectively gone off on its own and gone off in its own branch to say this is a different corner of the universe that's happening while all this other stuff is happening. And it makes sense that this stuff would be happening, as you said. Homelander and all this stuff would not even care about this corner of the universe.
No, they wouldn't.
It's insignificant. It's insignificant. They don't care about the fact that that one character is falling in love with another character who is a boy but sometimes a girl. There is like and I actually think that there's some clever things like in the way in The Boys. The Boys is this weird mix of clever satire with absolute gross out nonsense. It's the fact that it is a satire on Marvel and DC and the entertainment industry as it is at the moment, as it is about corporations, as it is about the way people write comic books. There's many different layers to it, and there's things like there's the first big fight in the show where there's a character called Jordan, and Jordan is the one who essentially Jordan's power is shape-shifting, but shape-shifting between a boy and a girl. So it's shape-shifting, but when they're male, they have one set of powers. When they're female, they have a different set of powers. And there's this fight scene that they have with, did you notice, Sean, that was Arnold Schwarzenegger's son?
I didn't know.
Golden Boy is Arnold Schwarzenegger's son.
Golden, really? He doesn't look, you would not equate him. I mean, I didn't look at that. Really? Oh, yeah, wow.
Golden Boy is Patrick Schwarzenegger, Arnold Schwarzenegger's son. And so when she's fighting with him, there's this scene where she keeps switching. She keeps switching into a woman, then into a man, and the way they do it, I think it makes sense because it's of the different powers. One of them has super strength, one of them is impervious. So it's like, so even though you have super strength, if she gets punched, might die. But if you switch and you get punched, you won't die, but you won't have the super strength. So I actually thought that was quite clever the way they did it. And they're making a comment in there about gender identity and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So, it's very much like that.
So there's things that are like, they're making a comment about eating disorders with Little Wicket. The fact that Marie Moreau's powers are a little bit gross because it's blood and it's moving blood around and hitting people with blood. It's kind of like, it's unsanitary. So
if you could have any one of the powers, which one would you have? I'd like the one the one I'd like to be the girl where.
Yes.
I just love Maddie. That would be so cool.
Right. Yeah. She essentially, she's like a clairvoyant, but she can make people do stuff. She sort of touches people and says, "Do this," they do it.
So, and they do some grossy stuff.
Oh my god, yeah. Oh my god, they do gross stuff. So so with this, I think if you're a fan of The Boys, I think you will like this. It's kind of it, but if somebody told you The Boys go to uni, it's like if you mixed The Boys with Animal House, then you kind of get an idea of what this show is like. I think that the storyline was done quite well. There's always a conspiracy because it's good, and I think that it's actually unfolded quite well. Like the way they explain the conspiracy, what's happening. There's a really key point because I've read all of the comics, and there's things in the comics.
I'm not au fait with the comics. So.
Yeah, and so there's a theme in the comics where I always wondered how are they going to bring this in, and they bring it in using Gen V, which I thought was actually very clever. Which is it has to do with what they're doing in the woods. And I liked it. I thought it was all right. I thought it managed to make a point for this show should exist apart from The Boys, even though it's in the same world. and I would give it a 3 out of 5. I really quite liked it. So,
Yeah. I was intrigued to start with, and I thought, yeah, I mean, I didn't hate it. Don't get me wrong, but I didn't
yeah,
like it as much as The Boys. I didn't think it was, but it would probably appeal to young adults, I would think, because it had all the the insecurities that they have. Um, but yeah, I mean, I give it a 3 star. I give it a 3 star. As I say,
yeah.
I did a couple of episodes. I found, I thought, oh, come on, something happened, something happened.
Oh yeah. I know exactly what you mean. There are a couple of where you're like, okay, would you do that? There's some performances in this that I do not like. Like
Yeah,
the you talk about people having two expressions on their face. There's the character who plays Polarity, the younger Polarity with the magnetic powers, and yeah, I do not like his performance. I
no,
feel like it is too facial looks and nah. But never mind. But let's move back to cinema. Let's move back to cinema and cinema